Good afternoon and welcome to this afternoon's Work Wonders 15-minute webinar starting now at 2. We'll be going for the 15 minutes and at the end of 15 minutes we will have some time for us to be able to chat and talk as well. Topic for today is how to connect with your Lync contacts. I am Kirsty McGrath, the Productivity Specialist at DDLS, and at any point during your session, if you're having any issues with your screen, do please refresh your screen. You can click your refresh button up in the path up the top or press F5 to refresh should it go black at any point. So there will be some time to chat towards the end and ask questions. There's a chat over on the right-hand side. Just pop in there, ask a question, and I'm more than happy to either demo or show you something that does come up. Okay, at the moment, today's session is on Lync. It's not yet on Skype for Business, but all future sessions will actually be on Skype for Business and how that actually integrates together and what that looks like. So let's get into today's session. What we're going to do is we're going to go in, we're going to learn how to do things like tag, search, organise your contacts in Lync and, letting you sort of find out when others are actually available to chat. You've also got relationships within Lync. So we're going to look at all these various ways of how to communicate with others and those presence indicators, for example. I'm going to get underway. I'm going to go straight in and I'm going to actually share my screen. And you'll be able to see on the screen my Lync in a moment when I get into a demo. So it won't take too long. Give me a chance. As it comes up, taking a double click. I should see it coming up on the screen. It will temporarily go black. And hopefully you should be able to see my screen now. Okay, so we've got Lync. Now, whether you're using Skype for Business or Lync, a lot of these features are going to be very similar. You won't see a little difference in that. They might just be sort of slightly shifted in terms of where they're actually sitting, but it is very similar. Now, one of the first things that you'll actually note is up the top, I actually have a picture that it goes with my name. It's all part of me being a contact. It's a contact in the system and how we can actually work together. So you'll have a global address list, or a global address book that actually comes with your organisation as a part of Lync, which means you can then easily search and try and find contacts. So a few things around sort of what we've actually got. We've all naturally got a presence indicator, and that presence indicator actually gets defined by the things that we're doing. Such as if you've got it and it's set up and it's a part of your phone system, you can maximise this if you like, it's all part of the phone system, then you will see others, they may be in a call, for example, if I'm on a call. If I'm actually sharing my screen, generally what will happen is it'll instantly go into Do Not Disturb. However, if I'm in things like meetings, it does connect directly up into your calendar in Outlook, so it will reflect what's actually going on for you, and then the same for your contacts. So if we have, so here's my manager Gary, he's actually currently in a meeting. It's probably not much use me either messaging him, he's not going to get back to me for a while, or I can go, I have an urgent message and, maybe he might get back to me. So I can, at any point, change my presence indicator so I can help my contacts, and vice versa, you can help your contacts know exactly what's going on. So if I went and reset the status at the moment, it's in busy. Okay? I don't want it to be that at the moment because we really don't want any chats coming up on the screen, and I can go to Do Not Disturb. That means that someone actually can't contact you whilst you're in Do Not Disturb. So if you do see that on your contacts, then you're not going to be able to get through to them unless you've got a very specific relationship that's actually been set between you. And I'll show you how to do that. So let's have a look. We need to find a contact. So if I wanted to look for a contact that was, say, within our organisation, I can come up into the top and just type in whoever it is that I actually need. So say it was, I'm just going to go bring up Wendy. It'll go through all the Wendys, and I can start to go, I want to have a chat with Wendy, who's my support, and I can then go hi. Now, she can come in if I talk to her a few times. What happens is she starts to then move into favourites. But at any point, I can actually tag Wendy and put her myself into favourites should I wish to. So a couple of different ways, and I'll show you. Okay? So if they're not in favourites and you want to add someone, I can start from that conversation again. So I can go, I'll bring Wendy up again. I'm just going to go right-click on her. And then I can start to see, in terms of right-click, down the bottom, I've got to add her to my favourites or add her into a specific contact list. And I'll show you how to create a contact list. So if I go add Wendy into favourites, then she'll now come up in my favourites group. If you are federated with an external company, and a lot of us are actually federated in some way or another, whether it's internal companies you might have or you're federated with external companies, it means that I can actually search for someone that's outside my organisation. If you're not sure who you're federated with, then go to your IT team. They'll soon tell you who you're federated with. So if I'm looking for someone, so say I'm going to find Sammy. So I'm putting in her email address. Okay, add, and I can put in the full thing, but you can see because I'm federated, she's automatically starting to come up on my list. So come. So I've got Sammy here, and I can go, I want Sammy, and I'm going to add her to my favourites. So now I've got Sammy in my favourites as well. So that's an external contact, and Sammy supports and helps me in the Work Wonders program. So now I'm starting to get a few contacts. They're coming into my list. I'm starting to find them. I may want to create a group. And why would you create a group? It means that you can then quickly start to search and find people based on your groups. They can be organised by groups. And I can have group conversations or group meetings with that particular group. So if I want to create a new group, how do I actually do that? You can do a right-click. Okay, so I'm just gone to favourites, done a right-click. I'm going to create a new group. I'm going to call this my Work Wonders group. So here we go. I've got my new group, and you can see here I can actually drag them or add them from my search. So I'm just going to go get Catherine, drop her down into my Work Wonders group, and I'm going to go grab Sammy, drop into Work Wonders. I'm just trying to bring her down again. So now I've got a new group. And in that new group, I've got two people that I work with. I'm just going to go do a right-click, and I'm going to send an IM. That will automatically include everyone in the group for me to go, hi. Okay, so I'm just going to put in a message, say hi, I've invited multiple people into the session, and then we can all chat together. And so one of the great things about having groups is you can bring in these multiple chats. If I'm having a look at some of the other features, so I've got groups. This is working with my contacts. There we go. There's Sammy saying hi, Catherine saying hi, and coming back to me. This is conversation that gets kept into my history. Up the top here, I've also got what's called status. So status means it's based on the status of someone in particular. If you want to see who's online, you've got a really big list. You've got the individuals that are all online, away. Unknown is often where maybe they've left an organisation and they're not quite sure, or there's been, some issues in terms of what you've actually added. And then those that are unavailable, it means they're offline. So they're completely offline. You've then what's called relationships. So if I'm talking about relationships, you've got people that you can actually tag and put into very specific work groups. What does that mean? So let me have a look. So I've got Sammy, and as a part of Sammy, I can change my relationship with Sammy. Now, because it was an external email address, it was a federated email, they've automatically added her into an external contact. However, what I can do is I can actually start to assign a different relationship. So say I put her into my work group. If I put her into my work group, it means that if I've got myself set as Do Not Disturb, then they can actually go through Do Not Disturb and be able to connect with me. This is really good if you do a lot of work and you go to Do Not Disturb, but you want to have one or two select people still be able to talk to you. And for myself, I wouldn't do that because I'm presenting on screens. If I put Do Not Disturb on, I don't want to have conversations coming up all over the screens on a wall. So that becomes really important to me, that I don't have someone in that particular work group. But, it depends on your role. You've got other externals because you connect into Skype, you can connect into other communicators as well, including LinkedIn and various other features. So it could be I can assign them as a friend or family. So it depends on the type of social settings that are set up in your organisation. And you can even go and block someone as well. So this is changing your privacy status. So I can then adjust them, and I can see that people that are based on my external contacts, for example. If I've added someone new, they will come up here in the new list, and then I can do a right click on them and say which group I want them to go into. So we've got our groups, we've got a few people to be able to do multiple conversations with, which will really be able to support you. Well, what if you're looking for someone, but you actually don't know their name, but you have a bit of an idea of the role in the organisation, or you're trying to find out some information? I can actually come up to the top here, and when I'm searching, I can actually search based on a skill set. It's got quite a rich sort of search scenario. So it could be, so say I'm looking for someone that's an architect, and this is, an architect in terms of technology, and it'll come up with architects for me that are actually worldwide, and I could then go and pull on that resource. So it's got to bring it up wherever it says that word architect in their role as a part of your global address list, your GAL. It will then provide you with their skills. So a really great way and a quick way for you to be able to pull on some of those wonderful resources that sit within your organisation. Now, the one thing that you do have is, so say I'm actually waiting for my manager to get out of his meeting. Okay? Now, at any point, I can actually adjust and change. I could go copy the contact into another group. I can have them in multiple groups, not just one. Okay? And I can also remove them then out of my favourites. So I can go, okay, I've got them in a group. I don't want them in my favourites anymore. I'm happy for them to be elsewhere. Now, I'm waiting for Gary to get out of this meeting. He's in a meeting, and I need to know the moment he becomes available and he has a change in his status. So I'm going to go right-click on Gary, and you can see here I can tag him for a status change. I kind of call it like I'm being, a bit of a stalker. I stalk my boss regularly. So I'm tagging him for a status change. So the moment he's ready, down in the bottom right-hand corner where you've got your status bar, down the very right-hand corner, I'll get a little message that comes up saying, Gary Duffield is now available, and I can untag him if I wish to, or just leave it, because you can stop it immediately from the tag down the bottom. A really good feature when you're waiting on someone to get off a call or out of a meeting. And as I go, it's my favourite stalker technique. Not that I'm being little, I promise I'm not crazy. So we've got our own contact card, and we can personalise our own contact card as well, because what we've actually got within our contact is you can go into your tools, and in your options you've got your contact, how they actually look in your list, so you can adjust how those contacts actually look, whether they got pictures, whether it's across 2 lines, 1 line, order by availability and names. And there's all these different features that you can turn on and off as a part of your contacts. So when it goes name, picture, 2 lines, what does it look like if I go 1 line? Let's just go okay, and you can start to see. So now it's just running straight across with no picture against it. Okay? So there are all these different little features. Turn on and off. It's not going to hurt. Turn them on and off. You can go back at any point, and you can go and adjust those should you wish to. Okay? Just go and have a look. See what it actually does. Now, your status, you can go, how frequently does your status change? Because if you're inactive, after 5 minutes, you start to go, been away from your desk for 5 minutes, and then it starts to count 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and so on and so forth, until such stage as you're available. You can adjust it in terms of how long your PC's been idle. If you spend quite a bit of time working on documents that might be sitting around you on the PC and not on the PC, then you might want to change your status so that you still look like you're available and not necessarily stepped away from your desk. Okay? Your contact card itself, so for me, I've got a picture that's actually sitting up there because it's part of our global address list. By default, it is flowing through into my contact card, and you'll find the same a lot of times for the other people within your organisation. It sits on an exchange. However, you can come in, and I could hide my picture if I didn't want it there. Otherwise, a lot of individuals go in and edit, put in your own picture card to have your contact sitting in there. So these are all features that you can start to work with for your contacts. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over into Outlook, because what I want to show you is just 1 or 2 features, because your presence indicator and your contacts all flow through into your Outlook environment as well. So at any point I can actually start an instant message conversation if I'm in Outlook, and I can also set them up as a favourite. So if I'm within here, if I go right click on my contact card, see I've got add to favourites. One of the great features of 2013 means I've now got Sammy in as my favourite, and I can actually start a conversation immediately from the bottom left-hand navigation pane to have a chat with her based on my favourites. So those sorts of things do flow through right into Outlook to be able to work with. So that's going through, working with our contacts, some of the different features that you can play with today. Now, do feel free to ask me any questions if there's something in particular that, maybe you'd like me to repeat, or something that you actually wish to know. I'm more than happy to help you out there. Just type it into the moderated chat on the right-hand side while I just go through what's going to be happening for next week. For next week's topic, we're looking at tracking your changes in Word. Track changes can be one of those things. I do get quite a lot of questions around tracking changes. We're going to talk about things like the review tab, how to actually edit and track those changes and work with comments across Word. And there is certainly plenty there for you to be able to play with in something like tracking changes. And what's the value of tracking changes in terms of multiple editors? Don't forget, if you have any questions, even thoughts or comments, then do feel free to please join us on our Yammer network, where I am available to be able to chat with you if you like at any point. It is aka.ms/office users on Yammer. Okay. There's some really good Office 365 assets that you can actually work with on the Work Wonder website. If you go back into our Australia Work Wonder, tell your colleagues that they can actually register and come in for any of these sessions, or you can even download the toolkit from our Work Wonder website and invite others to come along within the organisation. Send it out as a bulk email. So post your questions there, or you can email us at 0365au2@microsoft.com, and I'm more than happy to support and answer any emails there. Okay. So I've got a question that's actually come through. So in the Skype we've got, set up, we add external contacts in the same way that we add our internal contacts in terms of Skype for Business. It's via email address, or it's a part of your global list. So it will actually join them together. So Skype is becoming... Now, don't forget though, we do have a Skype for consumer and a Skype for business. So it depends on your organisation as to whether they're allowing you to be, I suppose, federated and communicating with externals, such as your Skype for consumer, which are two different products. A bit like we had in the past, because we had our Lync and then we had our Skype as well. Okay, so we've got, so the next week's webinar link, if you've registered for the session, do feel free, go back onto the Work Wonders website if at any point you can go in there and, join into the Work Wonders website. So I can come back here if you like, and I will show you. It's actually up there on the screen. Okay. So our Work Wonders website is www.microsoft.com/Australia/work-wonders. And if you go into your adoption initiatives, you do have the Work Wonder webinars there, and go back in and register for a session if you haven't actually registered for the Word tracking, if you want to join those particular sessions. Okay, hopefully that answers everyone's questions for today, and I really look forward to seeing you all next week. If you do have any questions, do feel free to go on to Yammer or email us. Thank you very much for joining us. Really appreciate your time. Goodbye all.